just going to discuss about this surgical procedure during this COVID era. So, as you know, that COVID was declared world pandemic by the WHO in March 13th, 2020, and now till now more than 1 crore people are affected by this, and in India more than 5 lakhs people are positive, and active cases are more than 2 lakhs. And in our state also it is increasing, and around more than 20,000 people are affected by this, and currently more than 6,000 people are positive. So regarding this elective surgery, before posting for the elective surgery, we have to be first resumption of the elective surgery after this lockdown period. So before resumption of surgery, we have to be prepared before opening the surgical facility. Uh, so what is the timing of reopening of this elective surgery? So it is guideline has given that once the new cases become decline, not it is in the increasing phase. So once it is increasing phase, so chances of spread of infection is very high. So once it start reducing, then we start. So in reducing phase, we start the elective surgical procedure. And when the appropriate authority gives the authorized that yes, you can start elective surgery. So it depends on the municipal corporation, depends on the state health authorities or the national health authorities who authorized us for elective surgical procedure, then only we can proceed. Otherwise, we have to wait till our appropriate health authority given us the permission. So before opening this facility in our hospitals, we have to be prepared and check whether we have adequate facility for hospitalization of these pre-operative patients, appropriate number of ICUs we have available for the post-operative patients, or non-ICU beds we have, adequate personal protections equipments is there, adequate number of ventilators, medications, anesthetics, and surgical supplies. Because during the lockdown periods, the surgical equipments were used, and the new supply is not yet arrived to the hospitals, and also anesthetics are busy in the COVID care postings. So they are not free for the elective patients. So before opening this facility, we have to be ensured that yes, we have adequate number of bed, pre-operative bed, post-operative bed, ICU beds, and medications, ventilators, PPE kits, everything is available, or adequate number, and accordingly we can admit or start the facility. So gradual starting is necessary, or you can start in the gradual manner according to the facility available in your hospital. Similarly, the manpower facility, like the adequate number of OT staff. If your nursing OT staff or trained technicians are busy in the COVID duty or in the quarantine period, so it is difficult to operate the cases with the other person. So adequate number of trained OT staffs is required, especially in specialized surgical cases. And even in the general surgical cases, if the nurses are trained for the operation theater, then only they can assist properly. Otherwise, you may harm the patients even during the emergency cases. So whether you operate the emergency cases or elective cases, adequate number and trained staff is required. Now come to the COVID testing facility. Whether all patients should be tested for COVID or not, it is debatable. But yes, in your hospital, it is better to test the COVID before operating the patients. In our hospital, we are testing 2 times. One is within 72 hours. So it is ensured that the patient is negative. And even if you are operating negative or positive patients, the full protection is required. The PPE kit is essential. It is essential for the all staffs who are attending to the operation theater, whether they are transporters, assistants, cleaners, doctors, nurses, everyone is required to wear this PPE kits. So protection is important because once it is get infected, then all the facility will stop and you will delay the facility to providing the patients, and even the patients who are admitted, already admitted or operated, they may get exposed to these virus. So it is better to protect every hospital staff as well as to the patients. So once the facility is available and everything is available, then you prioritize the cases and schedule. So for the prioritizations, like in emergency, semi-emergency or malignancy cases, so you prioritize accordingly which cancer patients or which semi-emergency patients require early surgery, which you can delay for 2 hours, 2 weeks to 3 weeks. So depends on the requirement of the patients, you can prioritize and schedule accordingly. So scheduling is important because you have limited number of facilities nowadays, whether it is in terms of the physical facility, logistics, or in terms of manpower. You have to be prepare accordingly and schedule the patients depending on the expertise you have available. Suppose your doctors is not available or specialized nurse is not available, so specialized cases you can schedule according to the availability of the manpower, doctor, nurses. Or suppose some patients require ventilator, so if the ventilator are limited, so in that case you patients you can schedule according to the availability of the ventilators and ICU beds also. Then principles for the all cases when you post. So you consider that non-operative management whenever it is clinically appropriate. So if the patients can manage non-operatively or the patients can avoid surgery till this pandemic situations, we can delay the case. Like suppose there is benign thyroid nodule. So even you can avoid the FNAC on these cases. If you do the ultrasound or even clinically, you find that this is a benign small nodule and there is no suspicion of malignancy, then you can very well avoid any interventional procedure or any surgical procedure in these cases. Similarly, if the patient have some medical problem along with surgical issues, then appropriate management of comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension. So these things you can manage by their home, not admit in the hospital and avoid the hospital visits. Even you can e-consultation, which we are practicing in our hospital, you can promote those e-consultation to these patients and prevent the hospital's visits. Then consider waiting of the result of COVID testing. So during the waiting of result of COVID testing, you may wait, ask the patient to stay at home, and whenever the result is came, then he or she may come and admit. Similarly, if the patients you are planning for surgery and you need within 72 hours of uh, result, then you can admit and do the testing at your own center. So these patients, after giving the sample, they are not exposed to the community or not exposed to the any uh, vulnerable persons from where he or she may get infected. So till the wait till the reports came, you try to avoid the performing any surgical procedure until unless there is emergency. Even in emergency, if you can wait, you should wait for the result of COVID testing. Similarly, whenever possible, avoid emergency surgical procedure in the night, because in the night time the staff is limited nowadays, and scarcity of the lots of facilities, whether it is anesthetics or it is ICU facilities or pathological and other uh, paramedical facilities, those are scarce during the night. So avoid any emergency surgical procedure in the night. And also the staff is very less, and because most of the healthcare workers are doing their COVID duties also. So they are after COVID duty, they are exposed and they are either quarantine, or if they are even they are not quarantine, they are more vulnerable to spread the infection. So it is better to take the proper staff and avoid the surgical procedure in the night. And for patients who are or may be infected, or aerosol generating procedures like intubation, extubation, bronchoscopy, mask, bag mask, electrocauterization, laparoscopic, endoscopic. So any procedure of these types, so perform while wearing the full personal protection equipment kit and including the N95 mask, or that may be powered by air purifier respirator. So these protection is essential for every small interventional procedure which you perform in the operation theater. Then come to the safety, surgeon safety. So personal protection equipment, which every guideline is focused on this equipment. So PPE is must for every healthcare worker who are attending to the operation theater. Every guideline is giving emphasis on this personal protection equipment. Then intubation risk. At the time of intubation, if the patient is planned for a surgery, and at the time of intubation when surgeon is not required, only anesthetic is required, so avoid unnecessary persons or limit the persons attending in the operation theater. So only the anesthetics and assistant is to be present during the intubation period. So intubation is more aerosol generating procedure. So at that time you should limit the persons which are present inside the operation theater. So once the intubation is completed, then after this nursing, scrub nursing or surgeons enter into the operation theater. Then specific operation risk issues like minimum number of personnel should be there in the operation theater, including the during intubation as we discussed, and the throughout the procedures, no one allowed to just coming and going, or no visitors or observer is allowed during the surgical procedures. So extra try to limit the persons who are involved in the surgical procedures. No other person is allowed to enter into the operation theater during the whole of the procedure. A smoke evacuator should be employed when an electrocautery is used. So electrocautery should use in the limit, and if even if it is required, then use in low settings, because in low settings it will produce low smoke. Although there is no uh, evidence that in smoke uh, have some virus, but because this during the previous studies in the other viral infections, there is aerosol generation in the electrocautery. So therefore, in COVID-19 patients also, it is recommended that use of the lower use of the electrocautery, and even if you use, you can use on the low settings mode. And similarly, the consideration should given to avoid the laparoscopic surgery. Tracheostomy is also important. So take an account during the tracheostomy procedures that it is a aerosol generating procedure. So limited number of the persons are exposed to these type of things. And during the tracheostomy, the full protection kit should be wear by the attending surgeons or anesthetics. So after operation, the patients should be shifted to the post-operative ward, and during the transportation, the transporter also should wear a proper protection kit, so they cannot transmit any infection to the patient or from the patient to the transporter. So they should have wear the proper protection kit, and the person who are involved in the surgery, they should not allow to transport the patient. So transporter should be separate than the person who are attending inside the operation theater. Then before going to the home, the surgeons or healthcare worker, they have to change all the clothes which they have wear during the surgical procedures, and they take a shower, change their own home clothes, and then only go to the home. And at the removing of these operating clothes or the protection kits, they should be disposed in a proper disposable sites or disposable bags which is available inside the operation theater, and also wash their hands after removing these gloves and all protection kits during the surgical procedure. Then European Association of Endocrine Society or this SAGES endoscopic surgeon societies, they given the guidelines for endoscopic procedures or laparoscopic procedures. So they told that although laparoscopic can theoretically lead aerosolizations of blood-borne virus, there is no evidence available to confirm this is the case in case of COVID-19. So in case of COVID-19, because evidence are not present, but as evidenced by the previous viral infections, it is considered that laparoscopic surgery produce more aerosolizations. So for the side of safety, it is warranted to treat coronavirus as exhibiting similar aerosolizations properties as all member of operation theater staff should wear the personal protection kits in all surgical procedures. So especially in the laparoscopic surgery, when you have to inflate the carbon dioxide, so the carbon dioxide and preparing for the pneumoperitoneum, the safety is important. So the smoke filtrations is important, and similarly you have to be careful and uh, take some precautions that do not uh, use the leaking trocars. So during the trocars removal, specimen removals, or conversion to open and before closure, so these are the timing when the more aerosol can generate. So before removing the trocar, you have to be sucked out all the gas which is present in the peritoneum. So similarly, the specimen is also removed in the last. So, and all, if you want any time, if the conversion is required from laparoscopic to open surgery, and that time also do not be panic. You have to suck out all the gases, and then only you open to the from laparoscopic to the open procedure. Similarly, the endoscopic procedures performed during the pandemic time, the high risk patients, the PPE kit must be used by the all endoscopy staff. The American College of Surgeons also given the guidelines for surgery or cancer surgery during this period, and they considered also similar non-operative management when the clinical appropriate patient. So they also considered focused more on the PPE kit and N95 mask. And if there is a doubt, it will lead to rethink, formulate new strategy while treating the other diseases. And there has been concern of safety during the laparoscopic procedure, aerosol generation and CO2 leakage. So there is no leak is accepted. And similarly, the Pediatric Surgery Society also given some guideline that try to manage the patients with conservatively. If it is laparoscopic is required, then use CO2 insufflation in low pressure, and low power cautery is used, and closed system CO2 insufflation and deflation is needed, and avoid the leak through the ports. So in summary, you have we have to change our practice for laparoscopic or open surgeries. In laparoscopy, in open surgery, use minimum use of the cautery, specimen to be removed in the last, and smoke evacuator or remove the gas with suction. Thank you very much.